Rope selection means choosing the right rope for the right purpose. It applies both when you arrive at the job site and you're thinking about which rope should you tie to the tree to pull the tree over. Obviously some of these are very suitable for that use and some of them are less suitable. It also applies when you go to the shop to purchase the rope in the first place, making sure that you have a reasonably good idea of how you're going to use it, a different range of use you're going to require that rope for, so that you select ropes that are appropriate for that use. I mean, here are two different rigging lines. Those are both perfectly good for rigging, but obviously they're very different. They each have different strengths and weaknesses compared to each other. So this part of the video we're going to be talking about rope selection. To choose the right rope, we need to start off by knowing quite a bit about rope. We need to know about the properties of the rope, things like construction, the materials it's made out of, and of course those kind of qualities to tell you a little bit more about other properties, like how much abrasion resistance does the rope have, how much UV resistance, is it very elastic, how strong is the rope, what's the working load limit, minimum break strength, how easy is it to tie knots in it, does the strength of the rope significantly decrease when you've tied knots in it, what's the inspection frequency for the rope, what's the inspection regime, what are the inspection criteria that you have to apply, is the rope spliced, what diameter is the rope, is it suitable for use with the climbing equipment you're using. If you're talking about rigging, things like the elastic elongation, how stretchy is the rope, become really important. Obviously, if you're snatching the head out of a tree, having a rope that stretches a bit is a really good thing. Whereas if maybe you're using it not for dynamic rigging, that extreme stretchiness might be a problem. If you're trying to hold something up above the roof of a house, having a very stretchy rope might mean when you cut it off, it jumps into the tree. So to be able to choose the right rope in the first place, we need to know enough about ropes to be able to identify what makes a good rope for the purpose we want to use it for. So let's talk about that. To know about ropes, we often start just with some very basic stuff like the manufacturer, the cost, and the name of the rope, the reputation of the rope. Whether you might be looking up climbing techniques on YouTube, and the guys they're all raving about this new rope from such and such a manufacturer, so you think that's a great reason to buy it. And there's a lot of good information there, but there's some bad information as well. A lot of the time we see arborists using ropes for purposes for which they're not suitable, using them with gear which they don't match, that kind of issue. So let's talk a bit about the properties of ropes. We're going to start talking about the very basics, the top level, the kind of level that most arborists are able to describe their ropes in. The manufacturer, the name of the rope, the brand, so to speak. And in some ways that's the least useful information, but in other ways it's critical. So why is it important to know the manufacturer and the name of the rope? Well, for one thing, different ropes, even very similar ropes, have very different specifications. So it's all very well, I could say this is a double braid, class 1 double braid, with a certain diameter and a certain strength. But strangely enough, different manufacturers, even different dyes, different constructions, different rope materials have a very big impact on the use and in particular the inspection of the rope. So right at the beginning when you purchase a new rope, it's very important to record as much information as you can. We use rope inspection record sheets, and on those sheets we will, right from the very beginning, we're going to be recording the manufacturer and the brand of the rope, or the name of the rope type. That lets us, for the life of the rope, that lets us go back to things like the manufacturer's inspection regime. So later on during the use of the rope, when we come back to inspect it, we're not going to be inspecting every single rope the same way. we're going to be inspecting this rope very differently to this rope. So it's very important to record that information. It's also important to go with a reputable rope manufacturer. You can often find cheap ropes on eBay, down at the local yachting shop, that kind of thing, but they won't be certified for climbing. They haven't been put through the rigors of use on a tree work site. It's very hard to know if the materials, the core, the things you can't easily see on the surface are of the same quality as proper fit-for-purpose arborist ropes. Those ropes may be more expensive, but you'll get what you pay for.